Hello again, my fellow tennis lovers. Welcome back to Swinging with Sam. So, guys, listen. A couple of days ago, just before Wimbledon started, I made a couple of predictions, for the first three rounds and what I thought might transpire. So, just a few updates on what actually happened. Maybe just take a minute or two just to look back. So, I mean, the obvious one was that one of the predictions I had made was that what's this boy's name? Kyrgios was going to probably make a deep run, but that did not transpire. Obviously, he got injured and he couldn't actually take up his spot in the first round, so that fell by the wayside. And yeah, so just a quick review on what I had predicted. So I predicted Wawrinka was going to have a deep run, so he was beaten quite easily by Djokovic. Very disappointingly so, actually. He just basically didn't pitch up. It was just maybe one round too many for him at this early stage, because he's kind of getting back into it, getting back into the swing of things. He's been playing decently, but yeah, just not good enough for Djokovic. Djokovic, like I said, just took him out quite easily. Murray had a wonderful match, as I anticipated, with Tsitsipas. Like I said, it would probably be just a flip of the coin. And it proved to be, actually. It was just 1 or 2 points here and there and some dodgy calls from the umpire. And I saw Murray's post-match interview, and he was just gutted, because there's actually a key point that was that actually could have turned around the whole thing for him. Could have actually given him a W. One of the call that was missed by the umpire right under his nose, called it out instead of in. Murray didn't challenge, and the rest is history. So he's out. And the youngsters, who are the youngsters that are still there? Rune is still there. Alcaraz is still there. So those are the two really youngsters that I said, really, really young youngsters that I said might obviously take the whole thing and kick Novak Djokovic off his pedestal. Yeah, Alcaraz is going well. He had some close encounters against Nicolas Jarry. And the previous match, sorry, I forget who he played in the previous match, but his form has been kind of scratchy. So I'm not as confident that he might even reach the final, because he's now got a interesting matchup. But we'll talk about the matchups from the fourth round all the way to the final, potentially, for all of the different guys. We'll talk about the different permutations. Rune has been doing well as well. He's still around. He seems to be. I actually haven't caught too many of his matches, but I mean, looking at the results, he's been actually quite, doing well. He's cruising. Okay, who else? Tsitsipas. Yeah. So he had the one big match against Andy Murray, and he did quite well in that. Obviously, he won his match, and but his form is also kind of here and there. I'm not really convinced that he's got the form to actually go all the way to the final, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Well, Sasha Bublik has had a fantastic tournament, like I anticipated. But his problem is every now and then, as I said in previous videos, every now and then he kind of loses the plot a little bit. He loses his focus. He doesn't have the steely determination of somebody like Djokovic or Alcaraz, for that matter. But he had a decent tournament. He's gone now. Lost to his fellow countryman, Rublev. Yeah. So who's left then? And what are the different permutations going forward? So let's start with Alcaraz. Alcaraz in the fourth round, he's got Berrettini. That's going to be a really, 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 really tough match for Alcaraz. Berrettini is playing well again. Last year, he couldn't play in Wimbledon. He apparently had contracted COVID. But obviously, the previous year, he was in the final and lost to Djokovic. He seems to be back in his top form now. So that's going to be a supremely tough encounter against Alcaraz. So he wins that. He gets Rune, who is if I remember correctly, he's about 2 years younger than Alcaraz. Or is it 2 years older? Man, I need to do my homework. Anyway, right, so then possibly semi-final, he's got Tsitsipas, and final Djokovic. Next, Rune's got Dimitrov in the fourth round. Dimitrov seems to be doing well as well. We'll see how that goes. He obviously is the guy that was historically meant to take after Federer. At some stage, I believe his nickname was Baby Federer. Apparently, I've just read now the other day that he actually hates that nickname. He's hated that nickname. And obviously, it comes with heavy comparisons with the great Swiss maestro. So he's never really been able to live up to those comparisons, and henceforth he hates the nickname Baby Federer. And he's actually one of the elder statesmen in top level tennis. So the Baby Federer nickname doesn't quite gel. And then Runes will have Alcaraz in the quarterfinal, Tsitsipas in the semi, and the final, possibly Djokovic. Medvedev next up. He has Lehechka. Fourth round, quarterfinal, Tsitsipas. Semi-final, Alcaraz. Final, possibly Djokovic. Interesting matchup there will be against Tsitsipas. They have a history. They're not really the best of buddies on the tour. I've seen a couple of tense moments between the two of them in the past couple of years. So that's going to be a very interesting match to watch. Look out for that. That's possibly a solid 5-setter, 5 hour plus. Tsitsipas has, for me, personally, the most interesting fourth round encounter out of all of these guys. He's coming up against the American Chris Eubanks. Now, Chris Eubanks, for me, is the dark horse of this tournament. He might actually surprise everybody in the tennis world and go really, really far in this tournament. But I mean, recent history in tennis, recent history in professional tennis suggests that this particular run that he has out of nowhere should be just about ending now, fourth round or quarterfinal. But I would be pleasantly surprised, and if he goes any further than the fourth round, and I'm actually rooting for him. Has a fantastic style of tennis. He plays really aggressively and seems to be very athletic, and his game is well suited for the grass courts of Wimbledon, I believe. Got a big serve, nice volley, constantly attacking, like I said. He should definitely give Tsitsipas a handful. Next up, he will have Medvedev in the quarterfinal, Alcaraz in the semi-final, and possibly Djokovic in the final. This is now Tsitsipas. So we'll see how he goes there. Sinner, he's got Safiullin, also a bit of a surprise package in the quarterfinal. In the semi-final, he will have Djokovic, final Alcaraz. That would be such a beautiful final. Alcaraz versus Sinner. These are the two youngsters, in my opinion, that have performed the best over the 2-3 year period, for the past 2-3 year period. They have taken the world of tennis by storm, in my opinion. Sinner's obviously slacking slightly behind as far as performances in the Grand Slams and all of that, but not far behind. Not far behind. He's a very dynamic young player. Love his style of play. That would be a really, really fantastic final to watch. Next up, Rublev. He's got his work cut out for him. He's got Djokovic immediately in the quarterfinals. Semi-final, Sinner, and potentially a final against Alcaraz, of course. And last but not least, Djokovic's path to the final and beyond. He's got Rublev in the quarterfinal, Sinner in the semi, and Alcaraz in the final that everybody, all the tennis world wants to see, of course, That will be the rematch between those two from the semi-final in the French Open, which Djokovic took, of course, as everybody knows. So the young man has got a lot to prove now, that he can keep up with the GOAT. That is needs to prove to the tennis world that he's sorted out his fitness issues. And then from there, we'll see how he goes. So this is all very exciting. All of these different matchups from the fourth round all the way to the final, all of the different permutations. If you're a true tennis fan, this should keep you glued to your screen. Every single match has very interesting dynamics to it. And I really cannot wait. I'm itching. As I'm recording this, it's probably the first match up is probably in about an hour or so time, and it will be Berrettini versus Alcaraz. And obviously, I'm making all of these. Once again, I'm making all of these predictions based on what I have seen and what I believe. This is merely just my opinion. Just obviously a little disclaimer. So please, please, please do not take my word as gospel and go and bet based on what I am saying in this particular video. Please, I don't want to get into any kind of trouble. I don't want to get sued by anybody. I'm in no way and in no form any authority of world tennis. So don't take my word for it. Just listen to me and formulate your own opinion. Like I said, this is just how I see it based on my experiences in the past couple of years, and just my opinion on what's currently going on in world tennis and who is better than who's playing better than who's playing worse than who, and who prefers what surface, and which matchup is better for who and which matchup is really terrible for whom. So all of those kind of different permutations. Yeah, so watch out for Chris Eubanks. Now, the last time an African-American male actually had a nice deep run in any slam was back in 1996, and that was Malevai Washington. That's a really blast from the past. He went all the way to the final and lost against Richard Krajicek. So there is some real history to be made if Chris Eubanks really goes nice and deep, and at the very least gets to the final. So history will be made there. Yeah, so this guy is completely out of nowhere, Chris Eubanks. I love it. I love it. This is such a romantic story. But professional sports does this. You cannot write a script for anything. Football, soccer, rugby, tennis, nothing. No script. So yeah, let's get excited about it. One more week to go of Wimbledon. Beautiful tennis. And I will see you on the other side. Peace.